Okay, this is just going to be a quick little review of this glass desktop whiteboard, and you can see I have it here in front of me. Just to go over some of the characteristics of this, just beginning with the length. This is actually quite a large object. It's about 40 centimeters in length by about 19 centimeters wide. In terms of the overall height, you see that it starts lower. It's about roughly 3/4 of an inch to an inch near the bottom, rising to just over 2 inches at the top. So it's angled so that you can lay your keyboard, or that's at least how it's shown in the listing, that you can put your keyboard. And just to give you a sense of actually how big it is compared to a keyboard, I have my full-size keyboard here. This is an MX Keys keyboard, so if I was to put them basically on top of one another, you would see here that it's almost the same size as a full-size keyboard. So again, this is quite a large object. It is made of glass here. It does have a glass top. The rest of it is made of plastic, and you can see here that it's got a insert here where you can place items like your phones or tablets. Just to give you a sense of this is about 33 centimeters in length, and there's another roughly 2 centimeters for what will be the marker here, and it's about 1.5 centimeters wide. Now with this comes 3 markers. So there is a white one, there is a green one, and there is a red one. And I'm going to have more to say about these in a moment, but I just want to continue with taking a look at this glass whiteboard. So there's a bit of branding here on the bottom right. If I open it up, you'll see that it's quite large here. Again, this is all plastic. There are 5 bays or 5 compartments here. It does come with this eraser as well, but you can place a number of items in here. So for example, if I want to put my glasses in here, I can do that. It also keeps such things as these flash drives. I'll throw in here. I normally keep the markers in here as well. And I've got space for a couple of pens here as well. Then normally I'll throw in something like a pair of keys here. So you can see you can put a number of things that you might have laying around or you want quick access to on your desktop. And then the top just shuts down. Now speaking of the glass here, you can see that on either side it does have some padding, because when this closes, you don't want to have it close too quickly or potentially damage the glasses. Again, this is tempered glass here, and so if I'm just going to clear this out here, so we can take a look at the underside. Okay, so I've emptied it out so we can take a quick look at the underside here. There are rubber feet here, and you can see it's quite high, these rubber feet here. So you've got 4 of these, and they work relatively well. You can see in terms of how it actually closes, it doesn't fully close because, as I said, it's got those pads there to protect the glass. So when you're closing it, there's just a tiny gap there for you. This weighs just over 1 kilogram. It's about 1,067 grams, so just over 1 kilogram in total weight. If I open this up here again, as I said, you've got your 5 compartments, and as I said, they're pretty useful. They can hold quite a bit. The one thing you'll have to be conscious of is just because it's angled, that if you're putting items in here, for example, if I was to put the pen here at the edge, this would have more trouble closing, so the pads aren't even hitting the edge here. So just keep that in mind when you're storing items inside. Now let me switch over here and just quickly talk about the markers here, because these markers are specifically designed for the glass top, and I've got 3 colors here. There's white, red, and green. And initially these things gave me a bit of a trouble to actually get them going, because when you actually receive them, each of the points here are yellow for all 3. And what you need to do, and there are instructions with the marker, each marker, is you have to shake it. It tells you to shake it for about 30 seconds. And after you shake it for about 30 seconds, you actually should press down. These almost have like a spring-like feel to them. You press down a couple of times on the top, and then you leave it be for about 5 minutes or so. And what you'll notice is over the 5-minute period, the yellow tip will start to change into the appropriate color. In this case, the red dye will come through and it'll turn into a red. Same with the green and same with the white, but it doesn't happen instantaneously. You do have to wait for it for a few minutes. In fact, the green one for myself, it took about 20 to 25 minutes, so quite a bit of time before it was finally saturated with the dye so that it could be used. Now, in terms of efficacy, one of the things that you're going to want to be aware of is when you're using this, if you're just writing like you might normally do on an angle, it's not going to work as well as you can see. But if you sort of hold it straight down and you write, you can see how different the brightness is between the marker. I found that the white is actually the best for obvious reasons. It's going to contrast the most with the black surface. So you can see how easily the white is seen versus the black. So my advice is when you're actually picking amongst them, and I know they have different colors, I'm not certain what the colors are that come with them, but if they are the white, green, and red, you're going to want to find something that's going to contrast. So for example, if you have the white board and you've got a white marker, it's not going to work as well. I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, that they might offer something contrasting with respect to that. But in this case, with the black top, you've got these 3 colors, and clearly the white is the one that's going to show up the best. Now, in terms of actually cleaning this, they do have this little sponge, but what I found is when you use the sponge, it'll do a reasonable job, but it'll make a bit of a mess on the sponge. You can see it sort of becomes flaky here, and it actually looks a little bit oily or greasy in terms of the top. What I actually find to be much better is if you have a microfiber cloth and you wipe it down, it's going to do a much better job in terms of leaving the surface clean. It's not going to have that sort of greasy look to it. And what I mean by that is you can see sort of a path of where you've been erasing the markers. So if you've got a microfiber cloth, it's just going to work that much better, in my opinion. Now, in terms of actual performance, this performs really nice. For myself, I place it in front of my my monitor, and I keep it there so when I want to get access to such things as a flash drive, or when I'm first starting out in the morning and I just want to grab my glasses, I'll grab them from here, as well as, you know, keys, and I've actually got my wallet and pens and so forth in there as well. So it gives me easy access to things on my desktop, which normally I have awkward, you know, I'm having trouble deciding where to place them when I'm done working. Normally I just leave my glasses on top of the desk, flash drives are thrown on the desk. This neatly organizes things for me, so I'm really happy with it. In terms of its actual function as a whiteboard and what I might write here, with so many devices today that you have access to in terms of reminders and so forth, it doesn't play that much of a role for me. It's really more of the storage that I'm concerned with and find quite useful. But you can put things here, such as something that you might want to remind yourself of. Additionally, if I was to get a phone call and I'm speaking to someone and they're giving me some information quickly, I can write it down on the whiteboard, and then after the phone call I can go ahead and transfer it over to something more formal, like an app, or writing something down in a notebook. But just to have it there and available is great, so I don't have to spend too much time searching around for a pen and paper to take notes of something. I can just quickly jot it down on top of this, and as I said, afterwards I can go ahead and transfer it over to something more permanent. But again, quite happy overall. It'll work as well in terms of holding, you know, the pens and your phone and tablet if you want, and it does a reasonable job. It fits pretty well. As I said, it's about a 1.5 centimeters, so you're going to have to determine based on your electronics and so forth, or whatever item you want to place in these inserts, and whether or not it'll actually fit inside. But other than that, again, performance has been fine. Just a question of how necessary something like this is. For me, it's worked out quite nicely. As I said, I've now been able to organize my desktop to the point where it no longer has anything outside of my keyboard, my mouse, and now this in front of my monitor. So I'm quite happy with the overall ability to organize things with some of those items that were sort of loose ends for me. So anyways, this has been a quick little review of this glass top whiteboard, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.
Quick video to kind of show you how this desktop glass board looks. It comes with a little eraser. It's a little bit messy. Might want to get it says you could use a cloth, so maybe a cloth would do better. It comes with 3 markers. I like how easy it is to see with them. If you want to make, an appointment, you can remember. And erase is fairly easy. I think I'm going to try get something else to clean it, because it's, I don't know, it's just leaving this really odd smudge. It's not, you should see, it just doesn't want to, yeah. But I like it. It has it's very big. It's bigger than I thought, almost as big as my computer keyboard. And it has a lot of storage space. I have this old thing right here. And so I think it would be really nice to organize my desk with. Or I also like the idea that it's, very portable. If I want to go sit on my bed, I can bring it and I can sit my, I put my phone and my iPad in it very easily. There's plenty of room. My phone, even with this phone case, fit perfectly right there. It's really cute. Like it. I just need to find something better to clean it with.
So this comes in a nice box, big box. This is the glass board. I think it's a really clever idea. It has a slot there to put your phone in on your desk. Comes with 3 of the markers. It's hinged. You open it up. Get your other 2 markers, and they give you a rubber as well for it, and you keep your other assorted gubbins in here, which is great. It takes a while to prime the pens when you get going, but they work really well. They look nice on there. So normally I have a stack of post-its beside the desk, but now you jot it on that. Saves waste and throwing it in the bin, and then it rubs off with the rubber like that. I think it's a genius idea. I love the idea of it. It's really handy. Keep your stuff in, keeps the desk tidy. I love that. I think this giant post-it is recyclable, and I think it's really nicely made. Big win up.